Hey everyone, Eddie Hates Kahooing here. Today we are reviewing Bad Girl, a 2025 summer anime from Studio Bridge, who I only know for Fairy Tail and Talentless Nana, two series that I love a lot more than I probably should. But I digress. With the original manga being written by Nikumaru, this is the only work of this author I'm familiar with, but here are some of the things that they've done on the screen. And if I had to describe Bad Girl, I would say it's a Yuri bait series where everyone likes each other in some way. Literally everyone, but most of them like one girl, and I don't know, it's kind of messy. If I made a Venn diagram, there would be like a bazillion intersecting circles, because this ain't a love triangle. This is a love hexagon or octagon, I don't freaking know. But the actual premise is we follow our main protagonist, Yutani Yu, a goody two-shoes who has a crush on the school's public decency officer, Mizutori Atari. Okay, technically they never use romantic confirmation language in the show. They don't actually say crush or anything. But I hate when stories do that. They were really good friends bullshit. Like, nah, she clearly likes her. In fact, we come to find out she likes her in a very unhealthy way. Like many characters in the series do. But basically Yu is like, how do I get her attention? Since she's the public decency officer, I have to become a bad girl. Hence the title of the series, Bad Girl. You know, if she's a bad girl, then she's gonna get reprimanded, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, other girls get introduced, and yeah, you know, shit happens. Funny enough, I actually misread what type of series this was at first, not gonna lie. Once again, me being victim to my own self by going strictly off of pictures and titles alone, not watching trailers. Hell, not even reading descriptions. I literally just saw the title and the main picture. I thought she would actually be a delinquent, and it'd be one of those series where everyone likes the girl that's badass or something. I don't know. It's funny looking back because my impression of the main character has obviously changed after getting to know her over the last 12 or so weeks. But seeing the undertone highlight hair thingies and having the bad girl title in mind, I thought she looked kind of cool and would be this badass. Now she's just a dog. Don't get mad at me. The series calls her that multiple times. She calls herself Mizutori's dog multiple times. I feel so stupid now though. Like, looking at this, how the hell did I come to that conclusion? Whatever though, let's move on. I'm just impressed by this series. Impressed by all the different ways it shows us that one can be down bad for another. Because man, do they get creative. If I made a list, we'd be here all day. But one that I remember quite a bit, and this isn't even like the craziest one, but there's a few gags involving the main character Yu having Mizutori body pillows, like a bunch of them of her. Which from our point of view, it's like, oh, she's got these anime body pillows. That's not that weird. But from their point of view, those are body pillows of another real human being. I don't know, like if I saw someone having body pillows with pictures of me, I don't know, at some point it's not flattery anymore. I'd just be like, that's a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But that was one of the funnier gags, I will say. One thing I did want to talk about was the characters. You know, I'm so good at this reviewing thing and transitions. But it is a normal topic for this video, considering. I'm just gonna talk about my favorites though. There's two of them. The first one is Suzu. She's the main friend to our main character. She's the straight man. She kind of puts on this front of like, you know, I'm not dealing with anybody's bullshit, and even the perception of her from other characters, which is kind of a running thing at the end of each episode, is like people misunderstand what type of person she is. But she has a lot of self-confliction within the series that just kind of surprised me for this sort of gag series, that she actually has some depth, you know. It was a welcome surprise. And another character named Ruriha, who is a YTuber, not a YouTuber, who has no friends, and I just found myself enjoying the series a lot more when she appeared because her jokes with the main character don't just hinge on liking Mizutori or fighting with someone else for Mizutori. It's a breath of fresh air in terms of dynamic. Also, the whole joke that started the series, the whole becoming a delinquent thing, gets dropped pretty fast. Only really reappearing at the back half of the final episode, which normally I'd be happy for. I mention this all the time. I normally hate when a series sells one joke or one gimmick, one gag to reel you in, but then it just sticks to that one thing and that thing only, so it's just the same shit every episode, and it's like, oh, I would like to see these characters doing literally anything else than the same fucking joke every time. But In this case, they just kind of swapped one thing out for the other, so I would have welcomed more delinquent failures, to be honest. And not to say I didn't enjoy the series, you know, I had some fun with it overall, but I don't know, it didn't click with me as much as I had hoped. I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more a few years ago, though. These days, I just kind of don't gravitate towards these types of series as often. I mean, I still will enjoy them every now and then. And that's okay, you know, different points in life, you're going to be enjoying different things at different levels and in different amounts. For example, I don't care much about the fan service personally, which I guess, yeah, for a show centered around said fan service for a good chunk of its moments, that's kind of just fucking yourself, but it is what it is. But here's the thing, whether a show has fan service I like, or don't care for, it doesn't really affect my enjoyment of the show because you just kind of get used to it watching anime for so long. It's something that I personally accept comes with the medium, and I've never really had a problem with it before. Even if it's fan service that I don't like, it's just like, you know, I'm just going to focus on the parts of the show that I do like. So it's not like I'm docking points from the series because it has fan service, especially when it's kind of the selling point. I'm just not adding points either because, you know, it's not something that I cared for. And because there are other elements to the series outside of that. You know, you fan service aside, unless it's like a full-on hentai, I'm going to expect there to be something else coming along with it to reel me in. Which for this show is mostly its comedy, and I don't want to judge too harshly plot-wise or engagement-wise, because, like I mentioned, this is adapting a 4-coma comedy, but at the same time, it's aight, you know. I didn't drop the series. As I mentioned, I don't think it's bad. I actually think it's decent, especially for what it's trying to accomplish. It nails what it sets out to do, so I think it's successful. I just wouldn't exactly hype it up to others as a must-watch. But Eddie, this is a gag harem manga. What were you expecting? Look, man, I get it. I'm the asshole here, but look, I'm not gonna lie and say I think this is peak fiction. Also, I don't like deflections like that either. Because it almost implies that because it's a gag manga or because it's this genre, that it can't be peak because of that. We got City the Animation the same season, and that is like peak gag manga. So, and as far as harems go, I don't hate harem anime either. I've been very vocal being a fan of particular harem series in the past, so don't try to use the genre against me like I don't know how to have fun. Shit, I even had fun with this series. As I mentioned, once again, there's some silly ass moments. It's just that after 12 weeks, I'm over it. I'm ready to move on to some other shit. And I think it's because for every section that I do enjoy... By the way, the episodes are split into like 3 sections an episode of mini stories. There's a section that I just find boring or wishing to move on from. It also just gets pretty damn repetitive over time. I don't know, this sounds harsh. I swear I watched this like a normal human being. I wasn't sitting there with my arms crossed and like with a notepad and... interesting. I just want to articulate my opinion, okay? You know, I just want to let you guys know what I'm feeling. It's my fucking channel. Also, like I said, this is a comedy. Never listen to a review or a critique of comedy. Make your own opinion. Like this, if I understand why people listen to critics, I also understand why people don't listen to critics. But if there's any genre where you really don't want to listen to critics, it's comedy, because obviously you got your own humor. So moving on. Another L for this show is that it aired on Saturdays, where hella shows were coming out, which isn't fair to it. Other shows shouldn't influence your feelings towards this show, but it is context I like to include. I'm only human. If the clock turned 5:30 and the new To Be Hero X episode dropped, I was switching out of this immediately. Or Yaiba, or Anne Shirley, or Bunny Girl Senpai. It was a stacked Saturday lineup with a lot more that I didn't mention. So I just was not really thinking about this when it was coming out. It was more of an afterthought of like, oh shit, new High Dive notification. That's another thing. It's on High Dive, which doesn't really help its case, I feel like. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, this is there. Let me get to that when I get the chance. Despite everything I said in this video, I do recognize a lot of my quote-unquote flaws. I don't know. Some of them I think are actual flaws, but then a lot of them I will admit that they are me problems as opposed to the series' problems for the most part when it comes to enjoyment. Because this is the type of series that hits a very specific niche. Even within Yuri fans, I feel, because this is so gag-heavy, low-stakes Yuri, as opposed to this amazingly developed, well-written romance. And like I said, more fan service heavy and just kind of that type of audience. So it really depends what you're looking for. You know, I would recommend this to people that I know would like this type of series. But if it's someone that I don't know their taste at all, I'm going to recommend them a lot of other things first. The overall point of this review is, even though I found my enjoyment within the watch, I wouldn't call myself a fan of the series. You'll see this in a lot of the upcoming reviews. My overarching theme that I noticed of the summer season of anime was a lot of me realizing that there's a difference between a series that I've seen, heck, even a show that I enjoyed, and a series that I'm actually a fan of. Like, if you bring up Bad Girl in a conversation a year from now or so, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I was like, yeah, that was a show that I watched. And I only bring this up because it's something I thought about with a lot of shows lately. Because in the past, I've just kind of always just called myself fans of things, I don't know, that I enjoyed even somewhat. But I feel like to be a fan, you have to be like, you have to kind of love a series. So I'm trying to really differentiate now, like what I'm a fan of and what I just have a base level average enjoyment from. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm looking into it too deep. Maybe this is where I'm getting real like, but I don't know. My brain is weird. In terms of my opinion on this series, as someone who's actually seen the series, not someone who hasn't seen it and is just assuming, I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume that I'm in the minority here for all these opinions, because this seems to be the type of show that attracts a big fan base that knows what it wants from this series, whether it's the Yuri shit or the Yuri shit or the Yuri shit. I feel like most people wouldn't watch this not knowing what they're getting and not thinking they'll enjoy it. So I'm sure y'all are going to cook me here, but I'm sorry. I didn't make my brain. I can't decide what it likes, dislikes, or finds to be in the middle. Enough of that yap. Let's talk about the art style. It's really good. The use of the color and the design stands out to me, and it all translates well from what I've seen in the manga. Now, I haven't read the manga, but I have seen images from it, and like I said, I like the style. Now, will I read the manga? Probably will at some point for closure. I always finish a story that I start, so I'll at least read the manga to get that closure whenever the series finishes in the future. But if a season 2 came out of this, I don't know if I'd want to spend all the time watching that or any future seasons that, if they do happen. I think this is something I would rather just read, save some time. In some series, especially gags or something for coma, I think depending on the series lends itself better to being a manga. Now, I haven't read the manga for this, so I'm not sure if that's the case, but I feel like I would have more fun with this as a manga than an anime. Now, like I said, I don't know. That's just speculation. But I'm not rushing to read it immediately anyways. I think a season of this is enough for me right now. I've had my fill of this type of comedy. And yeah, I'm not gonna not recommend this one. It's not bad. It's not a masterpiece, but it can definitely hit with a lot of anime fans, as I've mentioned. I'm just not co-signing it per se. It's kind of in the middle for me. But that's about it for this review. What did you think of Bad Girl? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments. That's it. Bye.